Hey everybody, thanks for coming to watch. So I've got an update for you guys on this massive line of storms that's going to be moving their way across the eastern U.S. today into tomorrow, and then we could even see some more severe weather as far out as even Tuesday. So we got to watch out for three different storm systems that are going to be tracking across the eastern U.S. and then towards, obviously, the eastern coastline. So what we've got is our leading storm right here, probably our strongest storm. We've got a low pressure signature, which would be localized right around here. This one's going to be bringing bands of showers and thunderstorms that, the thunderstorms could be severe and they could have damaging wind gusts embedded with them. That line stretches all the way down into the southeast, all the way down into parts of Mississippi. So this is a very, very large and organized system, but there's nothing really behind it as of the same system except two different systems behind it. Now, this frontal boundary is just going to continue pushing off to the east. This may even change directions and start heading a little bit farther northeast. So if you are in the way of this arrow I just made over here, then you should definitely expect some showers and thunderstorms as we get into this evening, tonight, and then obviously tomorrow. And then our next system, our second one, we can see is developing right now. This is already starting to rotate. You can see it's getting bigger and bigger in size. This one's going to be producing some mainly damaging wind gusts and maybe some large hail. Our tornado producer, though, is going to be this one right here. This line, this little batch, or I guess a couplet of storms that's moving their way across northern Illinois. That is part of the second storm system that we're dealing with. So the second storm system that we're dealing with is actually going to be the highest tornado producer out of all the storms. And this one has currently already produced, I believe, one tornado. I think one tornado actually already touched down in Illinois. But that I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that is true. But I'll number these for you. You got system number 1 right up there. Just to kind of give you guys a refresh. I don't know what just happened. I think my computer just glitched a little bit. But you've got system number 1 right up there. You've got system number 2 right here. And then you also do have another developing system all the way out west. This is all the way to Montana and Idaho. This is system number 3, and this one is probably going to be the weakest out of all of them, and hopefully it won't actually make it to all across the eastern U.S. because it is very warm and moist out here, which could definitely support some more thunderstorm development. But it definitely is looking like it's just not going to get there. It's not strong enough to. So we're going to be moving on to our alerts. And you can see that, what we've got going on is we've got a severe thunderstorm watch to start out with up here in northern Georgia. This goes out into central Georgia in, I think, the Atlanta area. I think you guys are under this as well. And this one is pretty much just because of those southern storms that have been moving through parts of the southeast. Just, making sure that everyone's aware that, conditions are definitely favorable for thunderstorm development. This also, I believe, does stretch into parts of Mississippi, just the northeastern half of Mississippi. The rest of you guys should be clear for the day. There's a severe weather statement that goes out for one or two counties out here in central Mississippi, or central Alabama. Sorry about that. I meant Alabama, not Mississippi. They also do have in southern Alabama a excessive heat warning. This is your heat dome. It's not really been changing throughout the summer. This goes all the way through Mississippi. It includes literally the entire state of Louisiana. This goes all the way through Louisiana up into central and northeastern Texas, and just a few counties in extreme southern Arkansas are also included in that excessive heat warning. You also do have your second excessive heat warning, which is out here in the southwest. You've got Southern California and Southern Arizona baking out there. It's just another sentence you're gonna hear again. Southern California and Southern Arizona. They have been in the hundreds, upper hundred, like 109, 110 for so long. And you can see, I don't know why this is saying my forecast, but it says in San Angelo, Texas, right now, 108 degrees. It's crazy. 109 degrees for today's high. Just pointing that out because that's very interesting. But let's get right back into this update. You've also got a tornado watch that includes a lot of western Illinois and stretches into parts of southern and central Illinois. So that's our tornado threat for today. That's pretty much why that's up there. And you already do have, I believe, you have one tornado warning ongoing for county in Illinois. So that's just out because there are rotating thunderstorms that are currently developing a little bit farther off to the west. I think that pretty much by 10 11 p.m. tonight we shouldn't really see any more tornadoes throughout the rest of the day. But there's definitely a very high chance to see at least one spin up out here in east western Illinois and also parts of central Illinois. So it's going to be pretty much it for your alerts, and we're going to be moving on to the north central U.S. And we're just going to be looking at kind of what's the picture and what are the characteristics going to be of these storms. We've already learned and observed that these storms are definitely going to be strong for pretty much anyone who's in the near path of the storm. So we've got kind of the location of the storms down. We just need to figure out how strong exactly they're going to be. So starting off, you could see clearly the difference between storm number 1 and storm number 2. You got storm number 1, the leading storm out here, charging its way through mainly central and southern Michigan, producing some damaging wind gusts and some relatively large hail out here, with one damaging wind gust line stretching all the way from southern PA down into parts of Virginia, and I believe this would be um, actually North Carolina, and then Tennessee. But yeah, the Ohio Valley has been getting hammered lately with some pretty strong damaging wind gusts, and I expect these wind gusts to continue all the way throughout tonight. So I think if you're in the eastern portions of Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, maybe even, and then obviously parts of Virginia, I think you could still deal with some relatively strong wind gusts, as this lower level jet that we've got that's pushing these storms aloft. This is not going to weaken until this storm finally these not only one storm but the trains of storm ends. But as of right now, we have a very very active and strong lower level jet that's dipping into the jet stream, and it's just been that's what's kind of pushing these storms. It's almost like waves, how they push objects across the water. This is pretty much what we're seeing today. And when you have the right dynamics lining up with the wind energy, the pressure, and just everything in the atmosphere lining up, the cape, it all creates damaging wind gusts, the tornadoes, and the hail. That's when all that stuff comes in. That's really not good. And so the reason why we're seeing that is all because of the moisture, the energy, and just the strong lower level wind energy that's been pushing across the eastern U.S. And that's what's driving mainly the damaging wind gusts and the tornadoes. But both systems are definitely rotating. We got that down. And you can see that we get all the way to, we'll put this to 6 p.m. You see we get to 6 p.m. That line continues throughout the rest of this evening. It's looking like even if you're in Eastern Ohio, I don't know if I think I said the eastern portions of the states down here, but if I said Western, I meant Eastern. If you're in Eastern Ohio, I think you're actually probably not going to see any more storms as of 7 8 p.m. But definitely out here in places like Western to Central PA, down into parts of West Virginia, and then Central and Eastern Virginia itself, I think you guys could definitely still see some more damaging wind gusts carry on throughout the day. But then look at this dramatic weakening with this second storm. I mean, you still have that central low pressure right here, but it looks like it's all over the place. I mean, you got a line of storms stretching all the way from northern Minnesota down into parts of South Dakota, stretches all the way into parts of Iowa, and then eventually into uh, Illinois and Missouri. So that's going to be very interesting to watch. If maybe, luckily, if we could be lucky and get lucky here, and we'll actually have this storm completely fall apart, that would really be good for just everyone staying safe throughout this the rest of this week, because it's really not looking good. And you get a secondary push of tornadoes out here. I think why I'm saying this is because these storms look they look a little bit scary to me, dangerous to me. They look pretty. They don't look they look pretty nasty to me as of right now. But you could see that you've got some pretty nice curviness on the looking on, got some pretty nice curviness on these storms. That's telling you that there's rotation with most of these storms. You've got also looks like a pretty nice hail core with this secondary couple of storms. It's going to be moving their way through the southern border of Illinois and Indiana. And then you got your most far south one, which is going to be including parts of western Kentucky as well. I think that just looking at this, I think if you're in east central Illinois or west central Indiana, I think you could get hit by a slightly rotating supercell as of 10, 11 p.m. tonight. There's a good chance because there's not only one, but there's multiple rotating thunderstorms that could produce tornadoes according to the NAM 3KM model. And this would be just for after like 10 p.m. We still have that ongoing tornado threat as of right now. So I would say after 7:30 tonight, the secondary storm that's producing those tornadoes, or that the number two storm that's producing the tornadoes, that's going to die down. It's going to slowly weaken as it's going to drift towards maybe some cooler air temperatures behind it. Then it's going to soak up all that leftover moisture and really ramp, get going once again, but very, very quickly in a matter of, minutes. And, we're then going to see some more spinning thunderstorms, and the timing and placement of the storms are going to line up right here along the border of Indiana and Illinois. To be exact, southern Indiana and Illinois, and then just around 10:30, and then 11 p.m. So we'll watch the storms, see where they go, and they push off to the east slightly, and then that's pretty much it for that storm. It's still hanging on up here, but it's definitely gonna weaken a lot after that last push of producing tornado producement, I should say. Um, uh, but I think that we could definitely see multiple rounds of tornadoes. I don't know why I said producement. I don't even think that's a word, but we'll just get through the rest of the update. I don't know what's happening to me today, but we'll see how this goes. And we get to our third storm. This one is pretty, I told you guys it's going to be pretty much the weakest out of these storms. I don't even know if this would be the third storm, but if it is, luckily it doesn't look too bad. Maybe a small severe weather event could unfold across parts of southern Iowa and then maybe parts of northern Missouri, but that would be it as of August 8th, which I don't know what day that would be. I guess that would be Tuesday, wouldn't it be? Yeah, I guess so. So that's going to be it for the North Central. We're going to be moving on to the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic. We're going to be looking at both regions today, and this is where I really think that we're going to have a very dangerous setup here. So I'm going to break down all of this for you guys right now. So as of now, this is our first damaging wind gust line that's going to be pushing off to the east and offshore. And what we've got is we've got a line stretching all the way from southeastern PA, all the way from like the Pittsburgh area maybe just south of Pittsburgh, all the way down into the Carolinas. It's battling some ridging out here from that heat dome because it gets a little closer to that heat dome when it goes a little bit farther south. Not too strong ridging out here though, 1,019 millibars, so it's not going to bother the system because the main part of the system is way up here in northern Ohio, so it's not losing steam from that. So that's going to be the initial impact and line of storms from the first system. This is going to be the strongest system. Remember, system number one is right here. Then we've got the bands circulating just outside of the center of the storm. You've got a center right here. It's slowly weakened. I just want to point that out. We used to have a sub 1,000 millibar low pressure storm as of early this afternoon. This has weakened, and it's gone all the way up to an 1,004 millibar low pressure storm. So, if you're unclear about that, that just means when I say millibar, I mean, kind of just how low or how high the pressure is in the atmosphere. So if there's high pressure, yeah, that means that there's less storm activity and it's sunny outside. If it's low pressure, those are damp clouds and they're ready to produce precipitation. And I just got a weather alert on my Alexa that kind of scared me. But yeah, that's pretty much what it means. And when you see 1,004 millibars for a storm as large as this, that kind of tells you that that's the storm's going to have a smaller potential of producing severe weather and thunderstorms in this case. But yeah, it pushes off to the east. We get to 9:10 p.m. You're still hanging on to some storms across the extreme western portions of upstate New York, parts of central PA. You could get a pretty strong to severe storm throughout that region. That would be closer to Pittsburgh. I believe that's actually pretty much right where Pittsburgh would be, Stratton area. All of you guys would definitely see some of these storms. Then, pretty much the strongest storms at this hour would be right here in the Delmarva area. This would be right around the Baltimore and I guess the DC area. This would pretty much be including you guys. So if you're in that area, Baltimore, DC, nation capital, just anywhere around the cities, any town, or anywhere in the state of Maryland or Delaware, either or. You could definitely get a strong to severe storm as we get all the way to 12 a.m. You can see these are extremely slow moving. And it's very interesting because usually when you have a strong lower level jet, that's usually going to be pushing the storms aloft. So when you have lower level wind energy, that could be producing winds up to 30 miles an hour in the lower levels of the atmosphere. That could definitely move a storm that fast, and it's really not looking like these storms are going to be moving that fast as we get all the way to 2 a.m. So we go from all the way from 9-10 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning, and you're still experiencing the same storm down here in the Delmarva area. But we go up to Pennsylvania, and you get all of a sudden more bands of these thunderstorms start to emerge from the storm, and so now we see more of a stronger storm here. It starts to strengthen a lot as it went from 1,004 millibars to 1,002 millibars. So the number's going back down. That's a good sign in terms of seeing a strong storm, but we obviously don't want that because we don't want any people to, get hurt. But these storms push off to the east, and that's going to be pretty much it for the first storm. Now, these storms will also impact parts of southern New England, mainly southern New York State, down into parts of northern New Jersey, and then eventually Long Island. You guys will see some of that rainfall from the storm. We're getting all the way to 10 a.m. Tomorrow. So you're waking up. Some of you might be waking up tomorrow, maybe having your breakfast tomorrow. And this is when these storms aren't going to be as strong. This is going to be kind of the hour where it's a lot more calm because you have a lot of moisture out here in the Northeast. You have a lot of rainfall coming down, but you can see that it's all just steady rainfall. It's not you don't see any thunderstorm action across the entire Northeast. Even this yellow and green, dark green you see here, that those are pretty much not thunderstorms. Those are just bands of rainfall that are going to be producing some steady rainfall across the Northeast throughout your morning tomorrow. Um, and that's a good sign. That's telling you that the storm's not going to be as strong for a few hours. But that also tells you that behind the storm, that tells you that there's another storm behind it that's coming. But here it comes, and I would say that first off, you could definitely see a little ramp up of tornadoes. Let me just get all this out of the way for you guys so you can see clearly what I'm talking about here. But let's go back to 7 p.m. tomorrow. So you're getting into the evening hours of tomorrow. And by the way, we are almost at the hour or a few hours of when we really see what's driving that 45% risk of damaging wind gusts tomorrow. I'm going to talk about that later in the update. But you can see here that when I'm talking about that tornado threat, I see here. I look at these storms, and when you see these lines, these little lines of storms, these are supercells. These are little strips of thunderstorms. These are supercells, and then you also do have these dots. These are also supercells. Any one of these dots or lines of storms could definitely have spinning supercells embedded with them. And those are going to be tornado producers because they're rotating, and they're discrete, which means they're spaced. They're not bunched up together. They're spaced out, not completely, but they are spaced out enough to have room to produce, to spin and produce tornadoes. But then once we get into 5 p.m., this immediately starts to die down. We'll get to 6 p.m., and that's when we start seeing that shift over to damaging wind gusts. The tornado threat has officially died down, and so we're getting into the overnight hours of tomorrow night. This is what's driving that 45% risk of wind gusts. I think, if I'm going to tell you, I would think that they could even expand that 45% risk a little bit further north into parts of southern PA, including Philadelphia. I think that you could definitely maybe even get all the way up to northern PA. I mean, that would be pretty ridiculous to see something like that, but it's possible. It is definitely possible. But we will see some more lines of storms continue pushing off to the east, and it's looking pretty bad. I'm telling you guys, it's really I haven't really seen a line of damaging wind gusts look this intense to me, just because of how long it is, how it's not really appearing to be weakening throughout the entire duration of the system, and it pushes all the way to Long Island, New York City, southern New England. And it's not losing steam. These are going to be severe. I'm telling you guys. I really do think that these storms in southern New England that are going to be impacting parts of western, looks like it's western Massachusetts, western Connecticut, southern New York State, and then parts of western Long Island, including New Jersey and then also New York City. Those I think will they will most likely be severe when they impact, which would probably be around middle of the night tomorrow night, which is not good because that's when everyone's asleep and they're not getting those alerts. But yeah, 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Tomorrow is when these storms could really ramp up throughout parts of southern New England. Same thing for you guys in the Northeast. I think anybody in the interior Northeast could definitely see a storm that could be strong to severe. Not only the interior parts of the Northeast, but the coastal regions of the Northeast. I want to put this back to 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Look at this area of storms around the Finger Lakes region. This is very, very concerning to me. You do have some more storms that could develop behind it that could help give it some fuel. But these look pretty bad to me. I think that these could probably uh, be damaging wind producers, but you could also definitely see a tornado or two from these. I think the main threat with these storms near the Finger Lakes region is definitely going to be isolated tornadoes. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a tornado in upstate New York, maybe upstate PA, just because that these storms, they look like they're capable of producing tornadoes, because you remember you're still in that time frame of where these storms could be rotating, and they could be tornadic supercells. And also, it's just it's a big area, which tells you that it's a strong storm, because when you see a big storm, it's most likely going to be strong. But I just have a feeling that these are going to be producing tornadoes. I'm telling you guys right now, and I'm probably going to say it again. I think if you're in upstate New York, upstate PA, especially around the Finger Lakes region, maybe down to Scranton, I think you're definitely going to have a chance to see a tornado or two. But we continue all the way throughout. We get all the way throughout Monday into Tuesday, and then behind it you may have some leftover showers and thunderstorms out here, but mainly for the rest of the country, for the rest of the region, it should be mainly dry. So we're going to be moving on to the HRRR model for your wind gusts. I just want to show you guys which spots could definitely see the highest damaging wind threat. We pretty much, as of now, already know that the highest damaging wind threat is definitely going to be right here in the Delmarva area, and could eventually also get extended up into parts of New Jersey, parts of southeastern PA, maybe even all the way up to Long Island. But I just want to show you guys and take a moment to look at how long and how strong these wind gusts are going to be. So we're going to take this all the way up until where we start seeing where we actually have those stronger wind gusts arrive. I don't know why this isn't loading air. Here we go. And we're getting into tomorrow. We're getting to this is 2 p.m. tomorrow. Here is your lower level jet right here. It's pushing this storm aloft. Behind the storm, on the western side of the low pressure center of the storm, you've got some pretty strong wind gusts, and ranging from 20 to 30, maybe even up to 40 miles an hour. So this would include the eastern portions of Michigan, and then we would also see some more storm action behind it. And so, to start out, we get to looks like 6 p.m. This is pretty much where you're going to have the initial start of the the strongest damaging wind gusts of the event. And you can see the interior coastal regions of the Delmarva area. It's very hard to say that because you don't usually say interior coastal regions. It's kind of the opposite, but you do have the interior coastal regions of the Delmarva area. You can see that this green and yellow and orange, these are just winds. These are just winds ranging anywhere from 25 to 40 knots, and so 40 knots would pretty much be around 45 miles per hour. So if that's just wind gusts, wind speeds, I should say, those wind gusts are probably going to be up to 55 to 60 miles per hour, 55 to 60 knots. So that's why we're gonna have damaging wind gusts with these storms, and that's enough to knock down some pretty big time tree limbs and stuff. But when we see regular winds ranging from 40 to 50 miles per hour, that's when the real big time damaging wind gusts come in. And here you go. You got a little line of storms that will be stretching from southern Delaware, mainly the coastal regions of Virginia. Now you see this red here, this red and orange. These are wind gusts ranging from 30 to 45 knots. Those are probably that's going to be around 50 miles an hour. So those storms are probably going to have wind gusts that could get all the way up to 60 to 70 knots in miles per hour. So that's what we're talking about with that 45% risk of seeing damaging wind gusts. We go all the way throughout the rest of tomorrow. If I just want to take a peek at the south shore of Long Island, you see some more greens up here, 20 to 30 knots. for your wind speeds. So you guys could definitely see if you're on Long Island, especially the western part of Long Island. You guys could definitely see a wind gust that could get up to 50 knots to 55 miles per hour. It's definitely possible. And the time frame for that would probably be anywhere from 8 to 11 p.m. To tonight or tomorrow night, I should say. Um, and then for the rest of the storm, you may have some relatively strong offshore winds, and that will be pretty much it. So we're going to be moving on to our NAM model for the Cape units of the units of Cape that we're going to be seeing. Just the amount of Cape that we're going to be seeing throughout the duration of the system. And if you didn't know already, Cape is pretty much just thunderstorm fuel. It's the amount of moisture and energy a thunderstorm has to be able to produce damaging wind gusts, tornadoes, large hail, and then just keep going for a long period of time. So the higher the number of Cape, the more fuel and moisture there is. So we can right off the bat tell that the most favorable conditions for thunderstorm development would definitely be down here in parts of Alabama. You could see pretty much the entire state of Alabama is going to be at least 4,000 joules per kilograms of Cape. That is enough to spark severe thunderstorms. That is not only enough to spark, just regular thunderstorms, but severe thunderstorms. So I would say if you had any, storm or storm system that could reach all the way down into parts of Alabama, I think you could definitely see a severe storm out. You could get a severe storm out of that, and we can also check if how long this amount of energy is going to stay. It doesn't stay long, so it's probably not going to last that long if you get a severe storm in Alabama, just because that the Cape that amount that such a great amount of Cape is not going to be able to stay in place long enough. And then we see some more energy shift over to the Tennessee Valley. You can see Tennessee, just pretty much the entire state of Tennessee, at least 3,500 joules per kilograms of Cape. And you can see this purple here. This is almost 4,500. So maybe a pop-up storm in western Tennessee could really get going, but I'm just throwing out ideas because this is such a huge area. It's kind of an outbreak, I guess you could say, because I think we will actually have to. I think we will actually start calling it an outbreak tomorrow. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it as a major severe weather event. Um, but with this, you could definitely see that the moisture and the energy shifts over to the east now, including portions a little bit of the eastern U.S. of areas along the eastern coastline. You can see that we get down here in the Carolinas. You can see that you got about 3,000 joules per kilograms of Cape along the North Carolina coast. That's enough to fuel a strong to severe storm for sure. But then you could see some more high levels of Cape enter parts of Georgia, parts of South Carolina. You could see almost pretty much 5,000 joules per kilograms of Cape out here in South Central Georgia. This is going to spread all the way through Alabama, parts of South Carolina, and then maybe even southern Tennessee. So watch out if you're in the southeast. If you get any type of storm, some type of storm, it could be just a regular storm, it could be a severe storm. I think that you're going to have at all times enough energy and enough moisture to get that storm to severe limits. I think that's definitely possible. It's just it's not for one specific area. It's for the entire area. If you were asking me for a certain city area of South Carolina, I would say that if you there's a few hours of there's a few hours that are that have been holding the possibility of seeing a severe storm. But we'll get all the way through tomorrow and then into Tuesday. And then you could see that what also could be a factor of what's driving the 45% risk of damaging wind gusts is could definitely because of the high levels of Cape out here in that same region of the Delmarva area. You can see you're pretty much up to 3,000 joules per kilograms of Cape in this general area. So the fuel is there. The fuel is definitely going to be there for severe thunderstorms. I think it's just how well the dynamics will be lining up for that specific area. But then that first wave of energy and moisture pushes off to the east. Then here comes your third storm, and this is where you could really get some intense, really really intense, levels of Cape out here. I just want to go back to that 1 hour where I just saw a spark up out here in, I believe it was Tennessee. Um, yeah, right here. Look at this. Look at this right here in western Tennessee, northwestern Tennessee, and also parts of western Kentucky. Look at this. 5,500 joules per kilograms of Cape. I'm telling you, at this level, if any type of storm, any type of rainstorm, thunderstorm, or already severe thunderstorm moves through this area in purple, white, and pink, it's automatically going to be able to get to severe limits. There's just no doubt with that. I mean, this is a ridiculous amount of energy and just moisture packed into this area here. I think the atmosphere is going to be bubbling, sizzling, and just it's going to be ready out for that area of northwestern Tennessee, southern Illinois, and western Indiana. So that's going to be pretty much it for your Cape, and we're just going to be, for the last part of the update, looking at our SPC. It looks like this just updated, so we'll see what we've got going on here. And to start out with, we'll go back to the day one. We'll start out with what we've got going on right now. You've got a slight risk out in place for parts of the Midwest and the Southeast. Now, you've got a pretty big area. This is a very, very highly populated area. Over 31 million people included in just that slight risk. And you've got areas of southern and central Illinois, Indiana, stretching down into parts of Kentucky, the Tennessee Valley area and region. And then this finally gets all the way down into as far south as Columbus, Columbus, Georgia. I don't actually think that would be Alabama, or I don't know, Columbus, Georgia, Alabama. But yeah, I think that it's just dangerous because there's so many people in the way of this system, and then you got that marginal risk of 45 million people. This is ridiculous, the amounts of people included in these severe weather events. You got Detroit, Michigan, Columbus, Ohio, Charlotte, North Carolina, Denver, Colorado, just because it's out here, and Cleveland, Ohio. So all of you guys are going to be seeing a possibility of seeing severe thunderstorms. And then for that slight risk, got Indianapolis, Indiana, Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, and Colorado Springs. We go to the tornado threat for today. We're up to a 5% risk, and it's for that same area of western Illinois that I was talking about. This where we have that tornado watch right in here. This also does scrape into parts of extreme northeastern Missouri, so you could definitely see a spin up or two out in this region throughout the rest of today. You've got another 2% risk, very small 2% risk, right here in the Detroit area of Michigan and northern Ohio. And then we go to the wind threat for today. You've got a 15% risk for that same area of the slight risk, and then surrounding it, it's the same area as that 5% risk. And it's the population is still absolutely massive. So, you gotta watch out if you're in any of these areas. If you're in any of these cities or areas, including the 5% or 15% risk of damaging wind gusts. you're guaranteed at least a small risk of seeing a damaging wind gust today. That's basically what that means. 15% risk for hail with a hatched risk. So that's something you gotta watch and pay attention to. That's for the same area of that tornado threat, including southeastern and southwestern Illinois. So watch out for not only tornadoes, damaging wind gusts, but also some relatively large hail that could really cause some major damage out there to expensive things. We go to the day 2 outlook for tomorrow. This is going to be the main event for sure. You can tell right off the bat that this is going to be going nuts tomorrow. So starting out with your categorical outlook, you've already got an enhanced risk, which is a level 3 out of 5 risk for severe weather. So when you see an enhanced risk this big on just the day 2 outlook, on the SPC, usually that means that you're going to see a moderate risk somewhere in the middle of that enhanced risk for the day of the event, which would be for tomorrow. So as of now, you're up to an enhanced risk, including this entire region of the Delmarva area, down also parts of southern PA, down into parts of Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and then northern Georgia. Notice how only the western parts of the Carolinas are going to be included in this. If you're closer to the central portion or the coastal regions of South Carolina, you're probably going to have or just the Carolinas in general, you're probably going to have a lower chance of seeing severe weather. And then for that slight risk, you got just the surrounding general areas. But I mean, the enhanced risk, you've got almost 42 million people. Just take a minute and just take in how that's an insane amount of people that are in the weather. That's what's the problem with when storms, the strong impact, the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Southeast, just because there's so many major populated areas out here that it's just there's just so many people that are going to be hit by very strong thunderstorms. But we go to the tornado threat for tomorrow. You're up to a 5% risk. I don't think this is going to be upgraded, which is a very, very good sign. But it's that same area I was talking about where I was a little bit concerned of the looks and the characteristics of those storms. Well, here it is. Although the SPC, the Storm Prediction Center, these the forecasters out there, they do look like they have a little bit more interest in areas a little bit farther south. So maybe parts of southern PA and parts of northern Virginia could see more of a higher tornado threat as of more of the eastern areas of Ohio and extreme western areas of upstate New York. The wind threat for tomorrow, this is going to be the main threat for tomorrow, for sure. And this is where we really got to turn on outbreak mode. This is really, really not good. We have, a 45% risk of seeing damaging wind gusts for a very small area, but then you look, almost 9 million people. You got Baltimore, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Arlington, Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia, and Columbia, Maryland, all in that 45% risk. So if you're in any town or area, if you're in any town or just area surrounding those cities, you've got to be ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a dangerous and active day, and I do not want any of you guys to get caught off guard, because if you get caught off guard with any of these storms, if you're going shopping and then all of a sudden, the sky gets very, very dark and it gets very, very windy really fast, which was probably going to happen tomorrow, it's not going to be good for your safety. And we go to the 30% risk. You got 32 million people included in this. Philadelphia, PA, Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Raleigh, North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina, and just all these surrounding areas. That's going to be pretty much the same areas that enhanced risk. And it's just a massive area. And anybody in and at least, I would say, in at least 15% risk for damaging wind gusts has to be I think a good thing would be to expect the worst for tomorrow. If it's this bad, I would say if you guys are in a 30% or 40% risk, expect the worst for tomorrow for the best outcome of just being staying safe during the storm. If you're in the 15% risk, you definitely have to stay safe. But I think that it's going to be a little bit a little bit less likely that you're going to have a very extreme and intense damaging wind gust storm move through your area. And then 5% risk, just be alert and ready for possible damaging wind gust. But it's not like it's definitely going to happen right in your area. And then finally, the hail threat, 15% risk, not too big, not too bad, and it's including just a few areas of the mid Atlantic. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for coming to watch, and you guys gotta stay safe tonight. I think that tonight to all the way through early Tuesday morning, there's gonna be a very very dangerous setup throughout 3 different storm systems that we've got occurring and moving their way across the eastern U.S. today into tomorrow and then Tuesday. So really stay safe. Watch out for those storms, and just don't be scared. Be prepared, and we'll see you guys in the next video. So again, stay safe. It's pretty much guaranteed that it's gonna be pretty bad tomorrow, and we'll definitely have to continue watching what the SPC is gonna look like as of tomorrow for the Mid Atlantic. But regardless, just make sure that you're safe and you are ready for tomorrow. So thanks for coming to watch, and we'll see you guys in the next video.